notice you can also import. Like I'm at the point now with, say, Russia, that I don't go to our library. I just import stuff that I find. You can bring anything you want in from any place you find it on the internet, and all of the functionality that you saw, the saving of words and phrases. One thing you didn't see there too is that those words and phrases then are, you can look at them as flashcards. And in fact, we even have an app for the iPad where you can go through your lessons, and you can also go through flashcards. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that helps you with vocabulary. I mean, you can tag words and phrases. Do a bunch of stuff that helps you notice what's happening. Having your writing corrected, and when you have your writing corrected, then you get a correction. You get a report with all of your mistakes again highlighted and replaced with correct words and phrases, and then you import this and you study that as content. Similarly with your conversations, while you're talking to your tutor, the tutor will type any words and phrases that you don't use correctly. You get that as a report. You import that, and again, you learn the words and phrases from that. And you make friends and so forth and so on. So, what I feel is that the existing system of education, which is very expensive and where the costs are going up and the results are flat, is largely one where the student is dependent on the teacher. It's typically synchronous. It has to happen at the same time as the teacher's there. We're kind of conditioned to believe that learning takes place in the classroom, whereas in fact learning takes place in the brain, wherever the brain is. It's all standardized, one size fits all. It's vertical, it comes down from the teacher, and it's limited. And in my view, what we're heading towards, and the iPod is a big part of that, iPad rather, is that learning should be independent from whatever age to whatever age, anytime, anywhere, reclining on your couch at home, customizable to your interests, horizontal, you're connecting not just in the classroom, vertical with the teacher and a few schoolmates, but wherever people of similar interests may be. And so, to my mind, that is an unlimited learning opportunity. And I'll close with this, and that is that in India, they figure they can produce a product similar to the iPad for $35. Okay, so the cost of these things are going to go down. The speed of connectivity is going to go up. I mean, iPad, with the iPhone, I think they had 1,000 apps. Like 2 years ago, there's 200,000 apps now for the iPad. iPhone, iPad. A lot of them are education related. They're not all good, but the good ones will survive. So, that when I say the age of the iPad, I think education is very important, like economic well-being of individuals, of countries, everything tracks to education. And so from that point of view, I think if the iPad is able to explode education beyond the confines of our existing system, I think the impact on society will be significant. Thank you very much. Now I'm open to counter-arguments.
Thanks.
Yes?
You say you have your own website?
Yeah.
What's the...
That was the one we showed. It's called, I'm quite happy to hand out name cards. Okay, don't be bashful to ask. Sure. Okay. One for you. It's lingq.com. Sure. All right. Okay. Oh, jeez. We got more.
Is there a charge?
Charge. Here's what, yes. The majority of people use the site free. So that you can access all of the content, audio, text, download it, get on the forum, do everything you want free of charge. When you start saving words and phrases to a database, once you reach 100, you then either delete in order to create more space. In other words, the limit is 100. Once you're over 100, it costs $10 a month. So if you don't want to spend $10 a month, then you keep deleting. So, I mean, we have programmers, we have to pay, So
100 words, you mean?
100 words or phrase, 100 units. Once you reach 100, that's the limit, free. So you either, some people just keep deleting, or you pay $10 a month. And then it's unlimited. Go.
Steve, you haven't mentioned, age and the sort of correlation between
Sure.
age and ability to
Love the
learn
question.
language.
Love the question. I'm 65.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you're special.
possible, possible.
How many languages did you speak before you even started this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah. Sure. Okay. I'll tell you my take on that. The research says that our brains remain plastic for a long time,
Yeah.
and that we're constantly renewing. I'm no neuroscientist, right? But I read a lot on the
I
subject,
agree with that, yeah.
and I select those things that are favorable to my argument and ignore the others. But it does say that our brain remains plastic, and that we're constantly renewing cells or neurons or whatever. So I believe that it's motivation, it's time, and it's attentiveness, regardless of the age. I know in my own case that I'm a better language learner today than I was when I was 16. When I was 16, I had French at school, and I kind of could put a few words together, wasn't very interested. Ran into a professor at McGill who totally turned me on to learning French. And so I always say the greatest function a professor can, or a teacher can perform is to turn on the learner. And this is my son Mark. He'd just come back from an overseas trip, so he's on another time zone. Plus he had kids hockey practice where he's a coach. So yeah, I mean, you hear these things that old people can't learn. I think that up to the age of about 5, young people, like infants, have a big advantage because they haven't yet kind of coagulated around one language. And my understanding is the brain is a bit of a Darwinian type space, so that your language is not taken over. So that the first new language you learn, it's difficult to get it in there. And because I've learned a lot of languages, it becomes easier and easier for me because I'm not so fixed on my own. But I think that's the situation. So if you're a unilingual person at age 20, 40, 60, 80, I don't think it makes a difference. Yeah.
Isn't it more difficult to acquire a comprehensible pronunciation the older we get?
Yeah.
Like before puberty, you can develop a native speaker accent, but
Absolutely.
taking on Cantonese after 50, I don't know. It's 7 or 8
Well,
years.
I took on, mind you, again, I'm not typical but then I did, went to France and then subsequently went to Hong Kong where I studied Chinese, but I've seen people, at age 20 go to Japan, China, and they speak very, very well. And those are languages that are significantly different. Some people do better than others. My own view is that I don't think it's a realistic goal to speak like a native. I don't think that's a realistic goal. However well you speak the language, if you can make yourself understood, you're doing fine. And I think that it's far more important to have good phrasing and good vocabulary. And we know ourselves, if we come across a non-native who seems to have very good pronunciation but doesn't understand what we're saying, really can't express themselves very well. I remember I had this Swiss banker, and he came to visit us with his sidekick who was English. And the Swiss banker had this Swiss accent, but he spoke English far better than the Englishman. And I think the issue is words and phrases and control of the language. And yeah, some people are going to be better at sounding like a native than others, but I don't think sounding like a native is a realistic goal in any case. Sorry, yeah.
Steve, you raised a couple of very interesting points there. One of them is